Gonna be honest when I start this video. It says Africa's not poor because of colonization. Whoever is about to start talking is stupid. I'm just gonna straightforward say it. Like I don't even know what's gonna be said. But I'm gonna do research as we go along in this video for sure. I'm gonna give them the credit, but Africa is poor because of colonization. There's everything to do with colonization. However though, Jordan Peterson has brought somebody open, so we're gonna be open-minded and we're gonna give it a chance, okay? Subscribe, turn on post notifications, smack the like button up, boom, that's the video we do you like Get it go.
Well, you list here in one of your articles where you make reference to these rating systems, the bottom 10 countries for doing business in the world: Chad, Haiti, Central African Republic, Congo Democratic Republic, South Sudan, Libya, Yemen, Venezuela, there's a lovely example, Eritrea and Somalia. And so there are 3 exceptions in the African ecosystem. Yeah. Mauritius, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa, Botswana, and Zambia. You pointed out in your prospectus, is it prospectus article?
Yeah, prospectus article of
right.
Institute.
Right, that Mauritius is a rising star. And Rwanda is in some ways comparable to Georgia. So some of these countries have started to get this right.
Yes.
And so what's the consequence of that? And what does right mean?
What they have understood, what these countries have understood, is that economic freedom is at the center for prosperity building. Rwanda, for example, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, is explicit about it. He said he wants to be the Lee Kuan Yew he wants to be the Singapore of Africa, and Lee Kuan Yew is his model. Now, the dirty mouths are gonna start shouting, "Oh yeah, see, authoritarian, blah blah blah," whatever. Me, I want to talk only about the on the economic side. If you take Lee Kuan Yew and Singapore as your example, then it means that, like him, you're going to have to be serious about economic freedom. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what he did. That's what Singapore did. When Singapore figured that out, they went on to put in the right reforms to make their environment some of the most business-friendly environments in the world, one of the most free markets environment in the world, and you saw the magic of Singapore. Today, Singapore is richer than its ex-colonizer, Great Britain. So when I hear people telling me today, "Oh, Africa is poor because of colonization," I'm like, please, let's move on from that. Does it happen?
Oh, instantly got it. She's not saying that Africa isn't poor because of colonization. She's saying that moving forward, we need to remove the idea of colonization like it was in Singapore and bring in a leader like, I can't remember his name, she just said it, but I know what she's talking about because I did some research on him, the Singaporean leader, who he was kind of an authoritarian dictator, but he was kind of an authoritarian when it came to economics. He pushed the people to become what Singapore is today, when it became rich, and Rwanda is pushing towards that. But there's also a Burkina Faso, I think that's his, I can't think of his name, the dude who's in Burkina Faso. But he's doing the same thing. So like, yeah, I think some of that is going to be required, but colonization did play a role in why we're still building back our economics. And I have multiple examples on this. So if there's any denial on that, I'm going to go. But she has a point there.
Maybe
she does have
a tiny percentage in where we are today. Maybe, and I don't know. But I know it's not the cause. Because if it were, many countless countries have been colonized before. And by the way, colonizing one another is humanity's history. It just happened that maybe Africa has been one of the last, colonized region in the world. So in our psyche, it is there, and it acts like nothing happened before to others. But flash news, it's the history of the world. We've been capturing each other back and forth, all of that. So anyway, but the truth is, Singapore, richer than Great Britain today. And then Hong Kong happened. And then because Hong Kong happened, China even today happened. Because China's like, wait a minute, what went on over there? And then China went on to do the exact same thing with its SEZs, the special economic zones. Some of the most free market zones in the world. And then look at it happen in communist China, who, when it comes to economics, decided that we're going to do the free market, we're going to be capitalist, because that's the only way. We tried everything else. We killed hundreds of millions of people, and we have nothing to show for it. But now that we're tired of being disrespected members of society, because guess what? That's the other thing too. You want to be respected in this world, you're going to have to be among the prosperous ones for other reasons. Would it be nice, G, that we respect people just because? Absolutely. But that's really not the world we live in. So when China got tired of being disrespected, they're like, maybe we got to build also some prosperity here because then they're going to hear us. And today, China, being one of the, being where it is at, even Hollywood, who tries to tell the world how to think, is being told by China what movies to make and how to tweak stories and history in order to be palatable for them. You see the power that comes with being prosperous.
See? Listen, I fuck with everything she's saying right now because she's right, okay? But you know what it requires? It requires a generation of men who are willing to go like, you know what? We're gonna demand this. And it really starts with Black Americans. We are $1 trillion enterprise right here, right? If we took that money, used it to build back the infrastructure in Haiti, Africa, all of the brown cultures, all of the brown places all around the area, all around the world. Put in a little authoritarianness for a couple of years, maybe for a generation, authoritarianness for a generation. We will become the world leading superpower because there are more of us on the planet than there are of anybody else. We would lead the world in a superpower. Everything she's saying is 1000% right, but it's going to require a little bit of dirt first to get it done. Burkina Faso, what he's doing, Rwanda, what he's doing, and the Singaporean leader, it required a little bit of dirt at first, but they built it. Capitalism enters into Africa, it enters into Haiti, enters into all these places. We get someone to clean up these places, and we'll be a global superpower. The African diaspora will come back together. I totally agree with everything she's saying right now. I thought I was going to come in here. I came in here on bad faith, man. Oh, shit. I like what she's talking about right now.
The consumer price index has reached yet another 40-year high, and the latest GDP numbers confirm that the United States is in a recession. Now is not the time for savings with gold.
All right, let's give you that.
What would you recommend concretely to countries like Senegal to get the hell out of the way, let's say, of the people who would, like you, would do everything they could to try to make it better? I mean, one of the things that happened with India is India established the Indian Institute of Technology, which is a deadly engineering school, and a huge number of its graduates went to Silicon Valley, as you well know. Yeah. And many of the successful Indian graduates of IIT started to dump money back into India and build a capitalist infrastructure there, or help build a capitalist infrastructure there. So this sort of thing can really take hold. If you were making recommendations to governments who wanted to get on board and stop being like Chad, Haiti, Central African Republic, Congo, South Sudan, Libya, Yemen, and Venezuela, etc., what concrete steps should they take from the bottom up to get the hell out of the way?
Exactly. So two things we've been doing, because I'm a practitioner, that's my entrepreneurial journey. I'm an entrepreneur, so I practice what I preach, but I also preach. I preach for free markets, and so when it comes to that, I'm one of the hats that I wear is as the director for the African Center for Prosperity of the Atlas Network, the largest organization in the world of free market think tanks around the world. And so what we do there is we work on reforms around the world to take down barriers of entry for local entrepreneurs. So that's one thing. But as we all know, that's a great initiative to take, and we've been making some really good advances in many countries, especially in Ghana. We've been making a lot of progress with our partners there, Imani. But that is piecemeal legislation. It takes forever. It is hard as heck. And by the time you made a gain here, you made 20 losses over there, and it's a continuous problem. But until we get better, we got to continue at it. So that's one thing we've been doing, and so that's a hat I wear, working with free market think tanks to try to make it easier for local entrepreneurs to join in the party. Additionally, I'm going bold, I'm going radical. For the past few years, we've been advocating an idea for Africa that found some of its roots in Latin America. And again, I'm related to the people who are involved in this, my husband being one of the key figures in this movement, a movement called the Charter Cities. Paul Romer calls it like that. He's a Nobel laureate in economics. Others call it the Free Cities. I like to call it the Startup Cities. So the best way to think about it, Jordan, and it goes back to what you were talking about earlier when you use the word operating software. Most of the most of the low-income nations, so meaning back in the days, the way we used to call it is poor nations, they have regulations for poverty. They're basically regulated for poverty. meaning the laws, the set of law, poverty. It only calls poverty. And so what some of these folks have thought about, looking at the Dubai example, Dubai just recently entered the top 10 of international financial centers of the world. And what Dubai did at some point is think about it and be like, on this bare, plot of sand that's technically worth nothing right now as is, this 110 acres of land, sand everywhere, they're like, well, maybe Sharia law is not the best for business. We got to think about better set of laws for business. We're talking only about business, not family law, not anything else but business. And they decided there's got to be something better. And so they looked around, and it's actually when, to take one of the terms you used earlier, they're starting to realize, common law is actually a better way for business, specifically British common law. So at that point, and I'm oversimplifying here because otherwise we can totally geek out on it. Remember, this is like one of my latest things that I've been involved in, but latest is in the past 10 years, and I'm going to share with you a win. So Dubai is like, we have to adopt British, common law, primarily British common law. We're going to hire retired British common law judges to come and educate the law here, train our own people, and that, along with many other reforms, to also become a top center when it comes to and in the free market when it comes to the finances. Dubai,
that British common law system. So it's very, very interesting theologically and metaphysically. So it's predicated on the idea that every individual has all the rights that there are, except for those that are specifically regulated and limited by legal necessity. And then generally that realm of necessity has emerged only as a consequence of disputes between people. So you're free to do whatever you want unless you have a dispute with someone else. Then the dispute is adjudicated according essentially to constitutional and theological principles, and then a precedent is established. Then the whole body of law built up that body of precedents.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's bottom up, not top down.
It's totally
and English common law is a gift from God, man.
No,
it's something else.
Absolutely. And that's the key word there when you said bottom up. So common law is so much better for bottom up approaches. And we all know that markets work better in a bottom up approach. And also, when they have to educate the law and resolve a dispute, they're going to be much more respectful to the contract that was passed between the two parties than, say, civil law would be, right? And so anyway, so from this standpoint here, you have Dubai who's now trying to put all of this together, and eventually they put a set of laws together that would now be conducive to being a top international financial center in the world. And voila, in less than a generation, in less than 25 years, Dubai completely unrecognizable.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Who is this woman? Holy shit. Holy shit. I don't even know who this woman is. Who is this woman? I'm about to get her information. Oh my God. That was beautiful. British common law. They hired judges, and then Dubai. So they made the system. That's how they made so much money. They made the system conducive with economic advancement. Y'all, I'm blown away. I'm blown the fuck away. I'm blown the fuck away. I didn't expect that. I'm blown the fuck away. Anyways, y'all, I'm out. Peace.